Okay, guys, let's start the meeting. So I'll be sharing my screen and we will continue build from where we stopped yesterday. But today I'll also be introducing some very few things. If you can see my screen, please, I would like to know if you can see my screen.
Yes, I can.
Okay. So we continue building from what we started yesterday. This is what we started yesterday. But in today's class, I'll be introducing conditional what is it called? Conditional operator, that's ternary operator. So I'll be introducing that today. Then I would also be introducing useStates, how useState works. So I'll be using this class to also like using one stone to kill three birds at this time. So building also finding ways to explain other concepts. So I hope it will actually be a fun-filled class. So I would also like it that when you want to ask question, you could just signal by the raise of your hand so that we could actually proceed faster and also to not be crowded. So thank you very much, guys. Okay, this is what we built yesterday. And yesterday we were able to touch up this part and also we were able to do this. Then this is the design we're following. We're following this design. The next thing we want to actually do now for the design is actually this button. This button and also it has a learn more stuff. Then I'll also remove these two that I have in my own. We don't need it. So I'll remove these two. Now, for the learn more part, this is what we're targeting. This P tag. This P tag, that's what we're actually going to use the button. So I'll just call the normal style button. Then why I actually love what you actually using React. Why I love using buttons in React is compared to how you have it in your traditional CSS. React just makes it so cool. It makes it very, very, very cool, like so good. So let's say button, let's give it it's actually learn more and it gives it a neat effect when you're actually trying to use color on it. So let's see what we have. We just have this text. If I was using normal traditional button, you'd have seen one kind of small box on it. But this one, I have to style it, but it's something I just want since it's helping me build this. So it's making it easier for me. So I would add a class. Let me just give it a class name of let me call brand first. Let me see brand because I've named something brand, and that way my style in brand has this. What's it called? I'm sorry. The style in brand has a the font family I need. So that was why. So I've gotten a font family to be added. But one other thing I would want to do, we could see this one is actually something at the bottom. But one best way to do this, instead of you adding a class, I'm also introducing something advanced in CSS. There's a way you could actually add things after that's true CSS. You can add something like content. It's not content actually, but like content after your CSS. So there's a way you can actually do that. And one of the ways to do that is first, I've given this my class button. I need to also give it another class. So let me say BTN dash brand. So I'll just let me copy this. Then I want to go and style. On coming here to style it, all I just need to do is this and add. Then now, one of the first thing that is needed in this is because I'm using this, I need to add a is automatically it has the cursor pointer. So that's very good for me. I need to add a let me see the weight. It's actually bold, so this is not bold yet. So I need to add a font weight bold. Weight bold. Let's see. Okay, I think it's let me be sure it's okay. I've not saved this one. Yeah, I've added this bold. But one why I love what is it called? Tailwind. It still win it made it easy that I could just come down here and just do under here font dash bold, which is same thing as what I have there. Let me just first of all show you here. It's no more bold, but when I save this, let's see. Now it is bold. Instead of me going to my CSS, like I said, the goal is write less of CSS, more of library. And I'm just that I want you guys to actually also be used to not use, even though I know that you might not know CSS so much, but a little bit start using your head to using library instead of the traditional way. Because when you get a job, one of the things that they do there, most of them they don't use all of these our traditional CSS. They majorly most of because of fastness and also because of speed and also compiling, they just try to use libraries, lightweight libraries like Tailwind or Material UI. Those are lightweight libraries, or like your traditional CSS. Then coming down here and see still here, I would also want to add because I would want to put something here. So I would want to add a position relative so that I'll be able to use I'll be able to use this down stop that I want to add. I want to add this down stop, this dark yellow stuff that you can see down here. So going back to my this thing, there is an element called after in React. And to actually add after, you add this double stop, and this is it. And what after simply means is it's going to show like after the what's it called? You are trying to add something after your BTN. You can add content to it, which is one of the first things we want to add. It's actually to say content. You are trying to add content, CSS content. This is actually the way to actually add your CSS content also. You could use it in designing. If you need to actually add a design, maybe let's say you want every of your buttons to have one particular type of design. This is the way to do it. Instead of you going to go and put, what is it called? Instead of it going, come here and trying to go and impute them one by one, trying to change things, adding different p tags, adding a lot of things. The goal is I want us to have very little code and also very little CSS, but using ensuring you are using the right things also. So I would want to put this. Then also, because this one is actually relative, before I do that, I would also want to give it an height. Then let me give it an height of, let's say, 15 pixel. I don't know how that will look. Then I would also want to give it a background color of yellow. Then let me give it a last thing. I would want to give it a width. Let's see what we have after this, which of 100%. Let's see what we have. Nothing yet. So one of the things that I didn't, I would love to also add a position, but this time around absolute. Position absolute. Let's see. So you can see this is it now. It's already after it. This is the what we're actually trying to do. With the position up to brought it out. Well, now we need to replace it under here. But because I don't want to force things, I don't want to start using those your margin left, margin this thing. What I would just want to do is I would want to first, I would want to give I would want to do let me see something. Okay, that's a border also. So let me add the border. And also so that my distance is actually still very border radius of let's give it a 10 pixel, 10 pixel. This height is actually long, so I'll give it a 10. Then I would also want to give it a Z index of -1. What Z index actually does is you're trying to, how will I even put it? So let me see if I can get something from here. You are positioning the bus to stack level of another box. So you can either reuse it or because now I want to actually go under. That's why I'm giving it the Z index of this. So that it's not as if when it comes down, you have to be on top of the L. So let me just give this one a Z index of 3. So still nothing. Then I would also want to give it a left so that that floating will just stop. Left of 0. Great. But now it needs to come down. So to bring it down, I need to also give it another style of bottom rather. bottom of 0. Bottom of 0 will not work. I would have to reduce it a bit. There's actually, let's inspect. The button actually has some things on that, so I would have to increase it a bit so that it actually stays. So I'd love to know. Yeah, the button has a box stuff underneath. So instead of that, coming here, I would see the after. This is the after. So bottom, let me see. So bottom of 15 is okay, but I still need to reduce that height. 15 pixel. The height that is there, I need to reduce it. Let me give it a 7. Then increase the bottom also to like 18. So I think good. I've been able to get what is there, although the color that I'm using is different from their own color. But let's leave it that way. We still have a lot of other things to do. So this we've been able to do this part. Then now the next part that we need to actually figure out is this part. Then after this part, I would actually teach you a little about the ternary operators, of what we can actually use ternary operators to do. Like I said, if you have any questions, if you're not understanding, if you need more clarification, just do it with the raise of your hand so that we don't have to cause a lot of rowdiness. And also, I also want you guys to understand to a very good extent so that it's not just I'm just talking. Okay, false out.
Hello, good morning. Well done.
Thank
Please,
you.
can you explain that part of the after that part of the button?
This
Yes, the
after.
sentence. Yes.
Okay, what after
The
does for you?
content actually okay.
What after does for you is majorly if you want to add some content in your HTML, right? If you work in HTML too, and you don't want to come down here to come and start saying, okay, p tag, just start one random p tag and just give it a class. Instead of you coming here to come and give one p tag a class. And now if you need to call it somewhere else again, you would have to come back here and come and go and call that p tag again. To avoid that, content helps you to add a content, to add content to your site. So even if I want to come here and I want to write down things, I believe content should actually help me to do that. So you can see it wrote out things for me already. So if maybe I want to add things, for example, I want every page that I'm going to, I want a trademark that would actually go along with that page. Like let's say, for example, I want to put Kenny everywhere on my page. One of the best way I can do it, instead of me going and start copying Kenny everywhere, I just put it on my body tag. I just go and do after body content. I style it, then I put this content type. With this content, anywhere on my website, I can actually be referencing just the CSS, just the normal CSS. Then the content will follow it. So what content helps you to do and this after? What after actually? There's actually before also. There's after and before. There's after and before. Before is like normal, before something. There's before, there's after. Still good because of this class I've actually used. So there's before and after. Let me just show you how that would actually look. Let me remove all of this. So you can see it's before here, but when it's after, it's going to be at the front. You can see. So I hope with this little explanation, you've been able to know the different and how it works.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Great. So that's that on that part. So we want to do this part next, this section. Why I love React so much is React also gives you this flexibility that, as I said, container, you can copy your things very easy. But one of the things that I'll be teaching later, no, maybe not this class, or it might actually be this class, depending on the time, is you could actually design a layout, can design a layout, and you could just reference it by just calling the title, the text, the button name, then the image. So it's just like me creating a template for all of this. The style this differently. Then I just need to reference it, just call them. This way, what this allows us to do in this scenario is it gives us this flexibility of having lesser code to achieve bigger things. But that's actually more like going in an advanced method. So I would not go deeply into that. But it's something that I'm just telling you that is possible in React. So RFC, this is a short code I use. And that's actually when you download the React extension and E7 extension. It makes it very easy for you to do this short code. So now coming back here, why I said I love React is, oh, this one should actually be section 3. Remember, one of the goals of this class and also component is to have shorter code. Nobody wants to read one. Imagine if you're a developer and you just jump on a project and now you're reading 5,000 lines of code. I don't know. You get tired when you're not trying to trace out something. A code that is not commented out, that is not well documented. I'm very sure you'll be very stressed out if you're trying to do that. So section, what all this thing does for us is this component, it helps us reduce our line of code. Imagine if I could achieve all of that, these 21 lines, my section 1 is having like 13 lines, that's this header, is having like 13 lines of code. Then my normal home.js is just having 2, which is like, the third one is coming now. So let's say section 3. Section 3, the JS. Section 3, the JS. So it gives components, if you're trying to break your things down in components, to go advanced, which one I think my other colleague did, you could actually style all your buttons in another component. So like a button component, style all your buttons there because you know that you reuse them. So it's just very good that you just call them instead of going back to go and style them one by one. But because we don't have that much, I'm not saying we should actually do that yet. But if you know you are going to be using one traditional button everywhere, it's best to style it. So now this is what we have, but we would also want to, this is not what we want. We want this part to be in this side and this one to be in this part. Because I've copied this stuff, so it's very easy for me to just say, I cut this out, then I come to the beginning, then I place it there, then I do Ctrl X. Then I have this, okay, I have a gap. There's a gap here, so this gap of 3, I would just want to remove it. Ctrl X, then section 2, I'll go to section 2, then go and remove the gap in this one also, so that they could align together. Ctrl X. Yeah, so now they've joined together, which is here. So it's as easy as me coming back here to just come and copy out my text, copy everything here, then locating this image part, change it, going back to change it. So you just come in, I have transform. So to change the image, I have images. I can just name image section 3. Copy this, go to my CSS. I look for that first one that is having that image, this one. And just copy this out. But this time around, I'll just change what we have here. What is it called? I'll check for the name. So images, desktop, scope icon, standout, it's called standout. Standout. So let's see. Oh, I did the wrong one. Section 2. This section 3. So now we've gotten this. What is left for us to do is we can also notice that our height is not okay enough. So let me see. Because what they have here, I think the height is longer than our own, or if it's actually the same thing, but the image is not staying the proper way. So let's see how we can actually fix that. Let's see how we can fix that with background size of cover. Yeah, so we just need to add background size of cover to all of them. Good part, this stuff makes it also very easy for you. But let's just do it since we're actually doing all those other ones in CSS. So let's just do it there. Background size, cover, then same here, cover. So cancel. Yeah, so we have normal design, just as we have it here. Or is it not still? Okay, it's not. So I think let me just change it to contain and see. Contain. No, contain won't work, so still cover. Okay, I think this is now better. This is better now. So now, next thing I want to do is to change this text. Next thing I want to do is to change this text. But now, like I said, I want to actually introduce us into ternary operator. Ternary operator, which is like your if-else statement. I want to introduce us into that. So, and I also want to use this concept to explain useState. So let's say, for example, we want to actually make this change on something. For example, now if you go to your Facebook, you notice that when you log in, your profile, if you are Toby, your profile picture changes to Toby's profile picture. Like if you're like your own personal account. But now, have you ever looked at it that how do they even make this change to identify that this is Toby? There's actually a ternary operator that actually comes that puts it that if it is user, this is the person's details. If it's also users, this is the person's details. So there's actually a ternary operator that operates to send out that user that makes sure that is mapping. When I say map, it's actually identifying that this particular thing matches with this. If there's no ternary operator, when you log in, you'll just be seeing random profiles, random, because now it's going to be on random. But now for us to actually get all of that ternary operator in what is it called? JavaScript, React, it's very easy. One first thing that you need to actually import is what they call useStates. And what useState means, like, easily sort of me doing this, useState, which is from React, because I've already called React from here, so I don't think that it's necessary. So I can just do a comma, then do this use state. There are a lot of React properties. There's use effect, there's useRef. There are just a lot of them. You could actually reference them, and I know that probably in the course of this program, you would actually come across more of them. So I'll just be using useState, which is actually the first one I'll be using. So let's say, for example, we want to say, before you actually use your useState, you need to declare it. So you need to actually use a const, then give it a name. Then also, what are you setting it to at that interval? So let's call it text start. Then you also need to give it that, okay, now what is happening after this? The text is actually what are you trying to get? There's something they call set text. And what set text means is now the proper text. What is the proper text? Now, once the text program is it's what happens, what changes. Now that's when you actually come to the set text. Then you have this your equals to. Then the next thing you also have is the use state. Now the use state, what use state will do for you is one, is setting what do you want. If you want to put keyword into it, yes, you can put. For purpose of this class, we want to just set it as false. So you say set test at the default path, nothing should happen. It should just be there. It's on false. For what I want to try to achieve in this is when you actually, let's say for example, you click on this button. I want to actually find a way to change this. So now, going back to it, I'll just say set text first. Then I would also want to impute now what would actually undo the event. So we're actually using wants to, like I said, to kill other bets. So it's actually something on event again. So I would say another const. I would declare another const. Then I would say um on click. Let me just use that on click. So when I click on the button, like I said, it's button I want to make an effect on click, then because it's actually a function, it has to be a function of its own. But I love using what is it called arrow functions, which I'll tell you that is very easy, and also it makes your work also very, very, very easy. So I'll say set text. So on click, set text to it is not text. So this what this actually means is now on click by default set text is as false, which is actually saying a property of set text is false. So now on click now set text to become true, which is actually going to be like set text is not false, it's not text. That means it's going to be true at that point. So let me explain this. It's just like I love using illustration. So let me try to see the one I can actually use. Let me use house. You want to build a bungalow. You've already set it that there's a foundation on it. The bungalow belongs to Chioma, for example. Now you are saying this is Chioma's bungalow. Then you're not saying if Kende comes, it's not Chioma. So this is actually Chioma. Now coming down here to say if Kende comes, once you meet Kende on the way, then it's no more Chioma's bungalow. I don't know if that little explains this concept, or do we actually understand a little of what this concept actually means, the use state, how it works? Do what I'm trying to explain? Can somebody give me a reply?
I'm getting it small.
Okay, so because use state, let me just try to make it simplify again. Use state is actually like storing something up for the main time. Then when an action happens, then change it. So that's what useState does for you. So it holds temporarily. Then once an event occurs, it changes.
I think you may have a typo with the false you wrote.
Oh, I think that's true. Thank you. Because I was looking at the color. So okay, now let's continue. Now let me come back here and now do something like this. Let's say I called it what? Text. I want us to try something out. Text. Let me copy this. Save and place here. Then this is actually like if this when they say general operator is your if else statement. So this is like if text show this, else this thing is actually else. The other one is now let's say let me copy this and put let me say Toby. Then you also at the end of it, you always ensure that you close your stuff. Let me save this and let's see what we have. Oh, sorry, false is not defined. This one's like not correctly. Oh, okay, that was the first time when I saved. Ignore the part that something looks broken here. Let me just refresh. Something looks broken here. Ignore this part for now. That's just at the beginning. I'll not figure out later. So you can see this is actually Toby. Now it's actually saying now this is actually false. It's not text. It's not Toby. But now let me make it true. For me to make it true, what I would need to do is I will come back. I can come to my button. Then I can put the normal on click button on click on click. But now what is happening whenever I click it? On click, then I can say on click. Let me just change this one. Okay, you can still leave it. You can name it anything actually. You can name it anything. It's not necessary that it's on click. So on click, then oh, on click.
You know what? Please change that on click. Help us to change the name to any other thing. So that for Mhm.
Undo click is better.
Okay, undo click. Okay, so undo click. Undo click. Let me just bring it here. Wait a minute. I want to check out something. Okay. Do you see what happened there? Oh, this is actually Toby. Hmm? Let me add it here also and see. This is actually Toby. But once I click, what happens? Let me refresh.
Text change.
The text changes.
Yes.
So now I don't need to go back to my what is it called? My user this is going to be like, Toby has sent a message. Let me check it. This is actually how those things interact with each other. For you to change something on JavaScript, let's say for example, a user is actually inputting something. You are trying to like get what the user is actually saying. Then once you click submit, how it actually makes a change and identify that this is actually the person's name and holds it down. This is actually what happens there. So when I click, it changed to Toby. When I unclick, that means trying to tell me that I'm no more, it's now at false. At this point, it's at true. At this point, it's at false. So this gives me the ability to change things easily and faster. Okay, we're just living in the team. Okay, I would ignore that. So I don't know if you guys understand a bit of what's happening here. Okay, team.
Please, can you go back to the function and re-explain?
Okay, now when I put this const on undo click, what undo click means is actually set text. As I said, this text at default is on false, or I can actually use it to true. Let me use true instead. It's on true. Now on undo click, it set the text to false. That means, and I've come here and I say, if it is text, if the correct thing that is actually happening is text, or let me use name. Name would actually, because I want us to get a way to understand this thing better. So now, if it is truly name, show this. No, this is actually true. If it is name, show this. If it is not named, then show this. Then I now put on this undo click would now help me do that function and say, now, if they click it to by default, it is unnamed. If they click it, it should not be named. This hyphen, you would come across it very well. It's actually something like saying is not. So you see it very well here using ternary operators today. We are trying to actually say if something is not true, do this. You would have come across this in JavaScript also from one of the classes. So that's what this hyphen means. It's actually saying it's not. So now, if it is name, show transform brand, and now you know I've set this to be true, which is actually saying yes, it is name. Now, if I click on this, which is actually this undo click, which is changes that it is not name. So if I click on this, it changes to Toby, which says no, it is not name. Let's try to inspect something. Or will I be able to even get something to inspect? Actually, this is the interaction with the backend. I will be able to inspect something. But don't worry, I believe we'll also get into how we can interact with backend. So to get hold of some of these things. So in a little way, will I say you understand? I know that it might be still overwhelming, but when you rewatch the video, you and also try to lay your hands on field materials, you should be able to understand this better. But will I actually get that you understand a bit of what is happening here?
Yes.
Okay. So, like I said, we are trying to use one stone to kill two birds, which is one. We'll be able to do this, use state, and also we'll be able to use if and else. That's ternary operator while we're still designing. So, I'll continue. What we wanted to get is actually stand out on the right. So, let me just go and copy that text. I think somebody's site that I was using to copy text is. So I'll just copy out this text. I'll just bring this down here. Then the next one. Then they learn more, but this time around, this is my brand font bold. I'll have to change this after. So, but let's just leave it at this. What's it called? At what we have as yellow. So let's just leave it at this yellow. Let's move to the next part. So the next thing I want to do is now this box. Like I said, one thing that I love about those that did not join last class, why I actually wanted us to use Tailwind, and why Tailwind is also this. Instead of it, you can start doing your media query as you have in normal sense. As you can see, we don't have any media query thing here. That media query that is always giving people headache that you would do mean query. You don't know the one that you should put that mean. You don't know what to set as false and all. So one of the easiest way to actually do media query using Tailwind is MD. You set the screen size, LG, and you set what you want. So you can see this our stuff. Even though we're not done, the minimum query, the minimum responsiveness that we need has been achieved. It's not like just the full blunt one that we were having. So the minimum stuff has been achieved, as you can see from here. So you may not need to actually go, but if you want to go down to actually start more, that's when you go deep down. So now the next part I want to do is these two parts. I can still come back here and copy this I can create section 4. Now you're having all of this. Imagine if you are now coming to this home and you're styling, you're writing all of this. You know, the long code you might have had. This is actually 13, or let's say less than 13 actually. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this is actually just 4. This 4. This is close to like 10, 11. This is like 12. 12, even though they're not much. The little of them, the more you go, this is like also 10. Now, coming to all of this, I'm going to come put up here. I already have like 30 to 50 pages, 50 lines of code. I know how long that will be. So that's why it's always advisable. Try to break your things down in components so that anybody that wants to come and carry your code to read, it's easier for them. Now, let me section 2. Please, if you know that you are having a difficult to understand something, one of the first way you can actually raise up your hand. If I see something that okay, we can't solve now, you could surely reach me on my DM. I will do my best to actually reply at that point. Or if you know that something that you could actually, I think it's best in just share it on the group so that others could also gain from it. So coming to my home, I need to add section 4. So let's see. Yeah, this has been added. Oh. What's happening? Section 4. Okay, this is it. This is section 4. But this time around, you have 2 images, and this is actually like there's text inside them. So we'll do that thing. Oh, why am I doing this stuff with my system? So what I can just do is, first thing I can do is, let's check the design. Okay, there are different designs. So what I can do is, I can easily just replicate this and do Control V, then delete this one out. So I have this two. Now I need to go and change the background or to add the text, do this. Then almost automatically, we're almost done with our page. Then I would also want to use like 30 minutes to take plenty questions, your confusion in React. And let's see how you can actually solve them so that it's not like you are learning and no, I don't want anybody to give up. Because React can actually be very, 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 at the beginning, very tiring. So I would say, I would target the image. Let me say section 4 or section gray, section orange. It's very, very annoying when you're trying to remember a CSS name that you can follow, but all the advice is please use a CSS name that corresponds to what you want to do. Because in that way, you could also come back and format trace your things, even from the CSS. And you could also tell somebody, okay, please just go to section gray, particularly name it gray, to really remember. But the time actually name it rubbish, just like the way I'm actually trying to do, but not like really rubbish. You would have the difficulty in that. So what's it called? What's the first one? The first one is, let me see. The first one is graphic design, the second one is photography. So the first one is graphic design, while the second one is photography. So let's see. So we have them both now. Then we need to do this other designs. So to do this, easiest way. Now you also know that this is actually not in the bottom, it's like at the bottom of this top. So in this case also, we'll also be using, let's use flex into this so that we can actually flex it down. So coming down here, I would also want to create a The first one is, let's say, an H4 tag, calling it graphics. Design. Actually, it's supposed to be at the top. Then right top is what? Grade design. Which is this. So let's see what we have at the end of it. Let's see. No, I'm not looking okay. So we need to actually push this first. And these are style, flex, side by side. Flex dash code. Yes, yeah. So flex column. That's why I said this thing is actually more strict. So it gives the ability to just display flex. On putting your class, flex is actually display flex. If it's block, the introduction will be block. So if it's grid, that's what you had here that was grid. That's like display grid. This is actually display flex. Instead of me going to my CSS, you can start, oh, let me go and start calling this class. Let me go and start styling it. Tailwind makes your life easier. So flex column, then also items that center also does something. See, it brings your item to the center. Then justify dash center also does something. It brings your stuff to the bottom side. But now for our own, we're not doing justify center. We want to actually do justify end, which is actually to bring it down, which is what we had here. What we have here. Rather. Then one of the things was that this thing also makes you do is it helps you set your width. It makes it easy for you to set your width. So let me just use the width because of let's say width of 30. Not sure. Let's just come back here to check because they have a width property. They have how you set your width on this. So let's just use let's say this is actually like 280. Let's use width of 40. Width of 40. Or it's taking the entire stuff. So what I'll just do is let me just remove this and wrap it into a box. Let me wrap this into another div so that it does not take the entire what is it called? It does not affect the parents one that are styling. So let's see. Now this is like this. So we can still increase it more. Instead of 50, let's give it a something bigger. Let's give it a 72 and see. Okay, maybe this is okay. But now let's style it so that we achieve what is there. The first thing is, what's the color here? Okay, it's still normal franchise that we'll actually be using. So I'll still use that. Then also the pixel is 32, which I can, if it's 32, one good thing I can do with Tailwind, with documentation, you could actually achieve whatever you want. Just try to look for now. Look for font size. Font size. So this is it. Then 32 one is closer to 32. This is actually 32. 2XL. That's 32. So I could easily come here, do my text, do class, then do my text of 2XL, which is going to give me what I need. But I also need to give it a brand. Remember, I use brand to actually store that our font size, our font family, which is what we have here. Then I would also want to do text align center. So it's just text center in this, which brings it to the center. Now, what I'm still trying to achieve to tell you guys is that it makes your, just like your normal text align center, but this time around, just takes one of the name, then I assign it. So it makes it more readable like English language. Text center. Now I want to say font. I can say font bold. Equally, that's actually saying font width bold, which is what we want here. Then to do the color, I might just have to, because I don't have the normal, what's it called? The reason, so I might just have to go and use CSS in that one. So I will just copy this out. Then I can go back to my section.css. Below this, I'll do dot this. Then says I can say color, the color that was used here. Let me copy it from here. RGB color. This was the color. So we've gotten that here. Now let's do the next, which is actually the text. So the text also, that's here. What is used on it? I'm using font picker to do this, my stuff that I've seen, the picking. That is allowing me to know the font name, the font size, the font weight, also the line height, the extension. It's called font picker. It's on a Chrome extension. It makes your work easier as a front-end person. It easily makes you out to copy things. Come here, give it a brand, class of brand. Brand. Then also, I'll still want to give it a text center. Then I would also still want to give it a text of XM, which is actually from here. Text SM is like 14 pixel. XX is actually okay. Text XM is actually 14. Text base is actually 16. See what I'm actually looking for, not text XM. So text base. Coming back, let's see what we have. So we have this. Then we also still need to increase we need to increase this stuff, so I need to go and check the width, the best width to use. Because if you go and call any type of width, your width will not work. You need to check for the equivalent. So 64. So let's use 64, width of 64. Yeah. So let's see. Why not set something? Okay, it's on text base already. So it's now the color I need to change. So let's go back and change the color to this. I think I would have to put this on SM. So let's call this design. Let's call this design. This is another graphic design. Or it's the same thing. So I can even just use the graphics instead of, or is it not? It's the same thing. So instead of me calling on that CSS, like I said, our goal is just to reduce the number of CSS we pack on our pages. So I can just call graphics here. Then I can also say font of SM. Yeah, so this is it. Still a little bit not close. Not still as small, even though we've gotten this font size. So I think we still need to increase the width. we need to increase the width more. So width of, let's give it a 52 now. Let's give it a 52 and see width of 52. Yeah, which is this is what I get. Where's the width side? This is it. Width of 52. I need to be sure if this thing is actually adding. Yeah, adding. Oh, I was reducing it. My bad. I'm actually supposed to even increase it more, not reduce. So width of 96. So I've been reducing it. Yeah, so this is great. But now we need to adjust it up more, other than the way we have it here. So one good thing I can actually do is just to add padding bottom down here, other than making this thing this way. So I could actually just inspect, and let's see. Padding bottom of, let's say, 20 pixel, no, 80. Or let me see. So it is too much. It is too much. So let me give it a. No, it's not still too much. So 60. So padding pixel of 60. So I could do a PB. Yeah. So let me see, try that PB. PB of, let's check. There's something that in Tailwind, you don't have to know everything, you just know what you're looking for. Like I said. So PB, there's padding in Tailwind also, which is PB, which is, yeah. So let me just do a quick search of padding. So this padding. So there's PB, which is padding bottom. So this padding bottom of 0. But now I want to give it a padding bottom of, I'm checking the pixel equivalent. So let's give it a padding bottom of, we're looking for something close to 60. So let's say 64. That's PB 16. PB of 16. So let's see. PB 16. And let's go back. Let's refresh. To remove the other one. Did he add? I'm not quite sure it added. Okay, that didn't. Okay, there's actually an initial padding bottom here that's actually affecting this. So I might just need to go and override it. And I think I thought how to override things. Who can actually remind me how CSS works? How CSS work? Who can remind me?
From top to bottom.
Great, thank you. So I could just come back here that I have my design. So I could just do dot this and I would just put my padding bottom here and give it a 60 pixel, which is actually going to override the one at the top. It does not mind, it does not care about it anymore. Then now I've been able to get this, which is actually this part. Although I think the font of this is actually different. I need to confirm. The font that I'm using here is different. It's different, I think. I'm not quite sure. It's still Francis. Why is now font weight normal? Why is ours now looking a little different? Is it my eyes? Maybe it's my eyes. Okay, let's still look that though. So easily, what I can just do to replicate here, because I don't want us to go more deep, I want to actually take some few questions before we use the next 30 minutes also. So like maybe round up. So I'll use 30 minutes for questions. The remaining 30 minutes, we'll use it to round up things. Sorry. Okay. Now, so I would love to take questions. I'd love to take questions. Yeah, Tim, are you trying to say something? Yeah, you can go on, please, Tim.
I think I have a question on your section 3.
Okay.
Still on that on click event.
Yeah.
Okay, you said that if the name is not this thing,
Eh?
if the name is stand out, are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, let's say now that you gave it a set test of is not name.
Yeah.
So once we click on that standout, that paragraph, stand out to
Yes.
the audience, it will change to Toby, right?
Yes.
So I'm asking of what of the button? If we click the button, will it change back to stand out to the right audience?
Yes, you change back. So this is it. See,
That's
I only added it. Even this one on click is not needed. The one I actually added here is not needed. What actually was needed was this one. I only wanted to test out something. That's why I added it. So even though what does need, you need an event to occur. So sometimes it might not even be this event. Let me give you a case scenario where this stuff is actually used. Let's say, for example, you are not a logged in user. You come to a page, a website. You see that the website is actually just neutral. But once you log in, dynamically, your page, this thing might actually change. I don't know if you have experienced that before. What you might see will be different. Have you experienced that before? Majorly on the nav
I
bar.
didn't get
Okay, like now, for example, if you're on a website, if you've not logged in, you will see the button login. After logging in, automatically, then there will be an icon. The login might not be there again. It might not be an icon that will be there. I don't know if you've experienced that before.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that actually happens in the event of a ternary operator. So what happens is now, if user is not logged in, it shows a default, what is it called? Default design where everybody can see. But once a user logs in, then the next function takes place. So I'm just using this basic one so that when it's actually the same thing, but that time you are now interacting with an endpoint that says this is actually going to be coming out from an endpoint. This true, then you now have something like this, and there'll be things inside of it. So does that answer a bit of your question? Tim?
Say 100%. I'm still kind of confused.
Okay, let me know your confusion part exactly.
Okay, my confusion part is still on that on click event, that handler.
Okay.
So
And the
you can go
handler.
back, yeah, the on click. You can go back to your web page.
This one.
Yeah. Okay.
So you've set it here to say undo click. Then now what the function it should do is it should set text to be false. At default, set text is actually name. The name is actually true. Then at this point, there's actually a function that says set text to be false. Then I now pass that function into this thing. This on click is a default React button this thing, just like you have your event, the event this thing. It's for buttons, not just buttons, anything actually. So on click is a JavaScript function on its own. It's a JavaScript function on its own that handles actions of users. So now I've already said that on clicking of this, which is actually saying on click, now the function, what is happens, I want it to actually go back to this name that I've called here. Now, is it correct with what is being set here? If it is true, show it. If it's not correct, do otherwise. It's your normal if else statement. If name, if bracket name is true, else do the next thing. That's what is happening here.
Okay. I have a question.
Okay.
Like a simple explanation would be, is it also applicable to a case whereby, as you've said, before you use a login, there will be a default appearance. Before you use a login, there will be a default appearance on your website. But once the user are logged in, I think there are some things that will change.
Yes.
As you said the login, maybe there will be a login button, but after the user have logged in, it's going to change to maybe the user's image or an icon there.
Yes.
So is it also applicable to a state or a case whereby before you log in, there will be some features you won't have access to? Maybe you might not be able to see them.
Exactly.
After you logged in, you will now see those features.
Exactly.
After you create an account or
exactly. That's handled in two ways. That is on the back end and also on the front end. But on the front end, what happens is you just pass it that if user logged in, if user is logged in, it gives them the ability to put that. It's just like saying this feature, you are packing the car, you are carrying the package, you are dropping it here. So saying you are calling, okay, let me show you an example. Let me do something there. Section 1. Then I close this. Then I do at this point. Design will actually change. So I'm the one that is actually affecting that. So section 2. Now save this. Now let's take an example. For example, this is actually a feature because you can write a feature inside a section, a particular feature. You can write inside a section. So now, if the user is logged in, because maybe user logged in or any whatever thing, if user is logged in, it shows this. If user is not logged in, then this is what the default part. Then that default part will actually tell you they don't have access. It will always tell you don't have access. But once you are logged in, it gives you this. So let's see what we have here. Now, coming back here, you can see this design is actually coming from here, which is section 1. So it's actually saying, is user logged in? Yes. Else, what happens? It shows in section 2. This is another design, which is actually for this part. Coming back here, it brings this first design. So I can bundle an entire, what is it called? An entire page inside a design. So now, once you are logging in, once you are not logged in, it brings out the first page. But once you are logged in, it brings out the second page, which is like this. Yes, please, you can go on. I think Kenny was actually, her hand was up first.
No, it was the person that was asking question. I couldn't hear what he was saying.
Okay. Yeah, Tim, we still have like 14 minutes to go on with the question. So Tim, can go on, please.
Okay. Don't be offended, sir. So this name and set test, they are like defining a variable, right?
The name and set text. Yes, they're defining a variable.
Okay, let's say now that once you click on the button,
Yes,
and yeah, let me say that the set test is not name, and you click on the button, it changes to section 2. So
exactly.
the okay, I'm still asking. So the section
Okay.
2 now will be equals to the name, right?
Yes.
So the section 2 now will be equals to the name.
Yes.
Okay, okay, I've gotten it. So
So
once it
if
changes to
section
the
1 is not name,
yeah,
it will show this. But if section 1 is name, it will show this.
okay,
Do you get?
yeah, I've gotten it.
The same thing
I've
as
gotten it.
if user is logged in, show this. If user is not logged in, then show this. But depending on whatever is set on this use state, it will always have
Just
it.
like
Yes.
just like a variable, you can
Yes.
change the is it the value, and you
Yes,
can't
you can
change the
change the
value
value.
to constant. Okay, so let me say once you click on it, let's say you click on the button now, the name will now be equals to section 2, right?
Yes. Yes. So to change the value is also like this.
Okay, yeah, I've gotten it. Thank you, sir.
So is that good?
Yeah.
Okay. So we can ask another question. Are we all following? Don't worry, this is actually the best time to actually drag me back to explain some things so that you can understand. We still have like 12 minutes more before we move on to the next thing.
If you sorry, I joined late. If you wouldn't mind, you may just do a revision of what you have coded like this.
Oh, one of the best ways to actually do that is actually to watch the video because me going back now, I want to be able to pick other questions. Aside you have a specific part where you actually have to show it. I don't know if that's
like
okay.
like what we have achieved, like what we have achieved like this. It's not.
Okay, let me Control Z all of this. So what we have achieved is just us coming back to continue. We started this page yesterday. We got just to this part. We did not finish it. So we came today and we actually did all of this. Then we spoke about after. That's like after a button that we are trying to write. We are trying to maneuver your way to add content to a CSS. We're using CSS. So we went through the after route. Then that's how we added this. Then we also spoke about it before. After then, we came down here. Then we were also able to speak about useState, how useState is being used, what useState purpose is for, which is actually for holding data temporarily, which is also expecting a change in the future. That's what useState does. So it's like useState, normal temporary state, then changes it. That's dynamic. I can make dynamic states. Then we also that's what we also spoke about ternary operator. Then the ternary operator that helped us in achieving this, which is what I was just explaining now. Then we just built this also. Then I think that's basically all. And we also, because we actually didn't tailwind CSS, so we limited ourselves to tailwind CSS about writing a little of CSS, but I don't want to use tailwind all through. But more of tailwind, less of CSS. That's what we did. So that we can have lesser code, lesser HTML also. We use components for that. So any other question? Yeah, Kenny.
This is more of a CSS question. So, what's the best practice of using Pixel and REM? Is it possible to use them in the same
I
file?
would advise you, one thing I used to advise beginners is please try to stick with Pixel because one thing REM does for you is REM changes. REM is actually like relative to the screen size. So I would always advise, what I advise our beginners is please try to stick to the basic. Everywhere you go, every website, you see that majorly Pixel. But a lot of them use REM, but that REM would confuse you at the beginning. And sometimes, well, to use your responsiveness stuff to try not start doing something responsive in a way. But imagine adding 2 RAM and your stuff is very big. You're adding 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. You get the package one. Yeah, so that's it.
Okay, thanks.
So
Then the videos, oh, please help us tell Xylos. All these things that we are learning, it will be best if we can watch the video immediately. This piling of videos is not helping at all.
sorry, please. Sorry. So we still have like 9 minutes. The video will try to actually make it available. Any other question?
Okay, I have a question. Since we don't have much things to be doing particular to this particular work we've done. Now, my question is a general question on what are we really doing? Because I have been thinking I'm going to start rewatching the entire videos again. And what are we really doing? Like, take for instance, look at where you have your Explorer of files now. What's the concept behind this tailwind of a thing? Is it this different? What's the difference between the HTML, CSS we were doing and this whole thing? And what is the pattern that this particular one exhibit that is different? And what is the uniqueness? And how do we like structure this so that we really know that this is what we are doing and this is the result we have to get?
Okay. Why tailwind? Why tailwind unlike normal CSS is one. Tailwind makes your work easier in the sense that it makes it easy for you to just declare things and also do your mobile responsiveness faster and easier. So like I said, with Tailwind, instead of you going to go and add your media query, Tailwind gives the property that can just do empty, just tell your number, what you actually have on your desktop, change it on mobile. And you could see that in this effect. Coming up with Tailwind, it was easier for me to just do my, without writing, I don't have any CSS for this hamburger stuff, for this header. Tailwind made it easy that I could actually add an hamburger, even though I used another, what's it called? I used another library that assisted me. With Tailwind, I could undo this menu stuff. So it was easy for me. We just started 9 codes kind of. Although long CSS part, I don't have any CSS for this header, the CSS. With Tailwind, I was able to achieve this easily. With Tailwind also, I was able to achieve this like resizing. I knew that I was still do more of cleanup on it, but Tailwind makes it easy for you to do your responsiveness, makes it for you to change things easily, and also makes it for you that, okay, for example, in our pages on what is it called? Let me go back to components, sorry. Components, maybe section 3 or so. Like I said, Tailwind allows you to set this. Tailwind also gives you this flexibility that I can do something like LG. You see the text XM that is here. With Tailwind, it's easy for you to do text for Excel. Although I always advise read documentations first. Read documentations. If you're able to read documentation, it's more easier for you. So let's see.
I think I will appreciate if you explain it like the fundamentals, even starting from how it was if there is any installation that's done in it and all that make it to be able to be incorporated into the whole thing.
We did that yesterday, actually. We did that yesterday. I think that class has just been uploaded. Because we installed Tailwind, but to actually install Tailwind is more easier because it has a installation process there. It has an installation process, which is this is it. Then you also add all of this into whatever it creates for you. Ignore this one. Ignore that's just what you need. What you just need is just these 2 things. These two things, basically.
What is this NPM?
Oh, this is your first React class. I'll,
As
yeah,
it is, eh?
yes.
As it is, eh? A lot of things are just like too many, like there are too many things that one is trying to, you know, give attention to. So we see some things we don't ask questions on them, and sometimes maybe when at a point probably you answer the NPA, maybe I have not joined the class, maybe I joined a minute after or so. So who knows?
Oh, okay.
I don't know, and I felt like if it's a curious thing in me now, I should just ask it. It's part of what I'm trying to resolve within myself. Anything at all that I don't know, I should just be asking now.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah. So what NPM basically means is node package manager. And majorly, as the name implies, package manager, you're actually using it to like majorly is your node because React is actually on node. React is on node. So now, when you're actually saying that node package manager, when you want to install any dependency, you need to call that NPM because React basically relies on dependency. And in one of our classes, I also explained the difference between dependencies and also dev dependencies, and also what dependency also means itself. Which I actually said dependency is actually a component that React relies on or an application relies on. Everything in React is more of components. Not this normal component I'm writing here. I mean the node modules component. Okay, team. So I'll come back to you, Adama. Adama, you could also send me a message on what is it called? On WhatsApp. Sorry, Slack rather. On Slack, then I could actually come over some things for you, or give you a proper maybe another documentation that maybe that might help, or I'll just post it on Slack channel.
No problem, it's fine.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, team, please. I think we have 2 minutes to go because I want to introduce a new.
Sorry,
Called, yes.
sorry that I'm asking too much question.
No. Ask please.
Okay. Let's assume in our section 1 that that's where let's say that's where we gave this thing that const useStates.
Yes.
Okay. Since props acts like constants, right?
Yes.
We can we give it a useState in the section 1 with a set message, set test. This set test that we are seeing here, can we say in section 1, let's give it a useState like exactly like this. Then we can come over to our section 3, and that H2.
Yes, that also works. That's when the purpose of props. I don't know if we've gone through props. I think my colleague also spoke about props. That I'm not going into it in this class. So with props, you can actually call an element from outside and also change the dynamic way instead of you putting this through. So you call that props element to say, okay, this is what is going to be there. Then if this is actually changing, it's actually calling an element from another part, which is the part where you actually the major reason of me saying this is actually like the basic part. But when you start implementing with APIs, then that's when that prop stuff comes in.
My question is, can you do the same with useStates?
Use props with useState, like call an element from outside.
Yeah, for useStates, not props.
You must actually, if you are calling an element from outside, you have to use props. Basically, it may not be props directly, but you have to just call something here, which is actually like important.
Okay, you can't use useState.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So is that good?
Yeah.
Great. So next thing I want us to discuss, I want to implement this part. But now I don't want us to start going to go and design this thing on and off. Like we are designing it. How will I even say it? So want to design and keep designing. So I want us to actually just have, if you want to call this stuff, one of the best way to do this thing is what I want to show you. So let's get into it. And that's where I bring out mapping. You must have heard mapping in React, mapping in JavaScript. What does mapping means? Mapping
Me, I've not heard
basically,
of mapping.
you've heard of mapping?
Yes.
Okay, mapping is
I'm
actually
used to use it like yesterday now or 2 days ago.
you visit.
Yeah, I've read it, but the thing
Abdul
seems
now.
like different language.
You not come to Abdul's class.
Yeah, so I think that's why the two classes are actually very, very important. So I knew that I spoke about mapping, it was used, and that's why I was actually, that's why I said you must have heard about mapping. Okay, let me just go over what mapping is. Mapping is actually like you have an array of elements. Now you need to actually just select, you want to select something from there. You want to go through that array of elements, then you want to send them out. You don't just want to start putting them one by one. So you map them. You're able to like even filter what you need. So that's what mapping is basically mean in small sense. But now I want us to actually build out something with it on mapping. So let's do our section 4, our section 5 actually. Section 5. Section 5.jx. On this section 5, as normal, I'll do RFC. Then do section 5. Then I would also want to come back to my home page and import. So good. Coming back here. Oh, I've changed something somewhere. Where's that? Section 4. Section 4. I need the text. I'm just trying to search. Okay, this is section 3. Section 3. You could also always search for things easily. When I use this part, if it's actually text, you could search for things from here. So instead of me going through my file one by one, just try to remember the name. And it's as easy as that. And to locate where the file of that thing exists. So I was trying to look for where I put this SM that was giving me this big text, which I've done now. So in my section 5, when I talk about mapping, one of the first things that needs in mapping, let's say, for example, you need a const. It's called a const. You also need to call it, maybe I'm using this as an API. We've not done directly with API, but I'm just using that as an API. Because API sends you data. We send you data in an array of most times or sometimes objects. So let's say const testimonial details, right? Equals, I'm creating a kind of mini database. Then you have one. Everything must have an ID. Must have an ID. ID 1. Name. What are their names? I may not finish everything regarding their name and all. Their name. Then I should actually put this in curly braces. So their name. Then I also need to add a comma. Then let me say what again? Their role. Their role. This for the first person. Then also it's the content or details. Then the last thing is actually the image. And you have to come back and import this one. But let's just leave the image for now. Let's leave the image for now. Then this for the first person. Then let me just copy the entire thing that is here. For the second person, I would say the name is actually Thomas. This one is now an ID of 2. Then Chief Operating Officer. So this is like when you have your things in the back end, it's almost always like this. They send it to you in this kind of way. Then the details of the person. Then the last one, the person's name is Jennifer F. ID of 3. Then the role, the business owner. Then what she said, incredible result, blah blah blah, lot of rubbish. I'm good. Now this is it. Now you've gotten your data as like this in from your backend. Now for you to call it out, one of the ways you can do this is actually one. After writing all of this, I can const testy. Let me just do const testy equals. So I want to do my map. I want to do my mapping, initial mapping. So let me just show you. I'll just do this on an ID before I do the normal styling. Person testimonial details, not person actually. Testimonial details. Oh no. Testimonial details dot map. It understands it already. You can see dot map bracket. This one you can name it anything. So I can just say user, then the arrow function, because it's actually a function that I want to call. So it has to be a function. User, then what I need to do, let me do an li list. Link. Sorry. List actually, not link. Because I just said it on now follow them. Li. Then always important, you have to put key. Yes, if you don't put key, nothing would happen. Without your key, nothing will happen. You don't have any issue, you don't have any nothing would happen. But most times it's always very good to put your key. So it's like saying testimonial.id, which is the first thing that we do. So, and then under this, I would have my name. Let's say, no, not testimonial.id, user.id. Now I've actually changed everything. I'm not taking everything that is mapping. So as you can see, when I over on it, it's telling me that under that user, I have a name, I have a role, I have details, I have image under it. So it's already telling me that. So then this one I would have, now it can be user dot, let's say I want to map up just the name for now. I want to map out the names. So this error, where's it coming from? Okay, I know where it's coming from. Coming from here, supposed to be here. Okay, great. Now I need to call out. Let me now call out what I need here. So let me just do a UL. UL. Then let me just call. Now remember, I've named all of this. I've put them inside testing. I've put all of them inside testing. Then I can now do. Let me do this testing. Now, who can tell me what would happen here? Yeah, Kenny.
Sorry, I have a question before we go further. This
Okay.
user here, How
Yes.
does he know that it has to do with all these attributes that you wrote
Because
under the
I've already called this
testimonial?
testimonial here. So I've called the testimonial
Okay.
here. Then this
Okay.
testimonial details is from here. Then I'm not telling them, I'm not assigning this testimonial here. I'm assigning it into user.
Okay.
Do you get?
So
I'm
this
assigning.
one, you see, for the question you asked, I think you see the ID of the person, of the user. Can you go for can you go forward? And the username too. You
Okay, no,
see these two attributes.
no. Okay, now let me explain. This user, this key, I'm only trying to say I'm mapping by different keys. I'm mapping by different keys. This is what this key is about. It's not for anything. If I even remove this, let's see on our stuff, I'll still have a list of things. But defaultly, when you're going to production, this thing will always shout. It will always give you an error when you're trying to host that, okay, key is missing, blah, blah, blah. You don't add a key because it always advises you that you add a key. And the key is always for, what is it called? Always has a property of ID, usually ID. But if it was coming from this, you don't even need this ID. That was backend. You don't need this ID because I'm just trying to map out something like a backend stuff. So now, what is going to just give me now is the name. And that's what you can see here. So just like I have a backend, if you have a backend, they'll just send you this kind of details. Yours is now map it like this. Get after you've interacted with the backend, which is something you still learn about, you map it like this. Then you can now start interacting one by one with it. Then you can also still do more things. You can map out and filter things out. And you can also still do ternary operator inside mapping, inside what's it called? This is your map. I'm not going to that now. I'm not going to how you can actually filter things because I don't want to. I know that we're still having difficulty in understanding this. So now me trying to explain how you can actually do dot filter, dot map, dot filter. Then that would actually be very bad of me. So I don't know. To a little extent, do you understand this mapping? Let me put it that way. Tim.
I come in peace. So, my question is, so like that list item,
Yes.
okay, it's just like calling the name out, right?
Yes. This
I
one I'm only
supposedly
targeting the name, username.
target the name.
Yes, and that's what I just added in this part. So I did not add all of them. I only mapped out the name.
Okay, so let's say like that user dot name. Can you put comma and add user dot let me say row?
This one,
No, that place that you wrote the list,
comma,
yeah,
then
user
user
dot row.
role. Yes, it will bring it out.
This work.
Yes, you don't even need a comma. Just call it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And to also do it like in a name. User dot details. So now it's also the same thing. Now, if I say I want to now style this stuff, I want to remove all of this. I just want to do. Let me go and copy my grid that is here. Let me just do it from one. Let me just do it myself instead of me going to copy. Is this all the same thing as me doing a div, a grid class, a grid? Hmm? Not here actually. Let me show you something. Come in here. Let me just put a React fragment here. Instead of this error, I don't like this error. Let me come in here instead of this li, instead of all these jargons. I do a grid, a div first, a div, then I close this div. What's wrong? What am I missing? Then I say inside this grid, I want to put a grid, class of grid. Grid. Then I also want to say grid dash calls, let's say 3. Then individual of them, I also want to still style, just as we have here. I want to say details first. Grid of I want to have p tag, and I just say user dot details. Then here I want to have an h2 tag, h3, h4 actually, of saying user dot name. Then let's see, the last one is an h3 tag, 3 user dot role. Actually, this should actually be role. This can be new. And I save this. Then I come down here. And I just call this testing. Let's see. So it has this way. That's this way. It's actually putting it off like a grid, a different, what's it called? Grid element for me. So instead of me doing that, I can do, let me just swap this because I said grid. So div. Everything will be 1. So this is like 1, 2, 3. Then what I want is actually these 3 things. So let me remove it from here. So you can see this is 1, 2, 3. What's just remaining for me to achieve this my thing here is just to go and style it. What this helps me do now is that it reduces my line of code. It makes me to be able to style stuff. So when you are having things that are similar, same design that you want to look, instead of me going to go and create your normal HTML, you have to go and start creating this div, create this one, box. But because of I have the ability to use mapping, I could map and do little design. Yeah. If I want to design it, I would have just designed it in full. Yeah. Then come down here and just call it. So if I need to do design, I'll just design my things there. And there is one same listen. So that means if I need to change anything here, I would not have to go and start affecting them one by one. This is one sweet thing about React and why React is actually very makes things very easy for you, unlike your normal HTML and CSS. This is one of the reasons why people move to React because of this mapping flexibility. Yes, you can do it with your normal HTML also. That's if you have to write JavaScript, but the number of time it actually take you to do that is lesser here. I don't know if that's good. In an extent, do we understand what we're trying to do here? Could I say somebody understand how mapping works? Let me just hear maybe 2 persons saying yes. And if it's no, to let me hear 2 persons saying no.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have one
I
yes.
would say 75%.
Huh?
I would say 75%.
That's almost like a yes, but not fully yes. So that's like 1.5 years. No, one yes, 1.5 years again. And all I would say, sorry. So how many nodes do I have? I've had one. So we're again is saying no. Okay, let me hear. Who are they saying yes? Who's saying yes?
I'm saying
Yes.
yes. I'm saying yes.
Who is saying
yes.
so who is saying no?
But it does not mean that you know explain it with
Yes,
another
so yes.
Okay, I'll still go further and explain. Because the way I want us to know this stuff is not just because I want to teach. I want us to actually grasp it and be better in it. So I'll still go back. Okay, I have somebody who's saying no. This is actually like ghost. Okay. I would go back to actually explain. So now, how mapping works. Mapping takes your elements and it renders them one by one. When you say you want to map, so it takes your elements, value, it takes them one by one. So like it calls a defined callback function on each element of an array and returns an array that contains the result. So it takes them, a function that accepts up 3 arguments. The map, that's the parameter, calls the callback function one time for each element in an array. So it takes your element one by one and renders it out. So for example, you have a list of students in your class. And now instead of for you to go and start calling them out one by one, what mapping does is it goes, loops through the first one, takes whatever it means, whatever you say you need, maybe that name, you don't need that result, checks for that name, brings it out, sends it to you, goes back again, loop it again, check it again, bring it out, send it to you, go back again, loop it out, send it to you. So it's mapping it, sending it to you. It does not send everything at once, that just like a normal text. No. That's the function of that, the ID, the index stuff. It tells you to check it and sends it back to you. So that's what mapping is just basically more about. And that's what you could see what we did here. We actually wrote everything down, but now it maps the first time. Even though we say we agreed, so it maps the first time for us. It sends it, maps the second time, check everything, sends it, maps the third time, sends it. If it was a list, we should have done it, but because we've started our own and say grade codes 3, that's how it became this way. So how about now? How many years will I get?
Sorry, does mapping do the same function as for each?
Yes, it's almost like for each. It does almost similar function for each, but when you're doing for each, you have to write multiple code. So let's see. One of the things I love, yeah.
Continue, no.
Okay. Mapping and for each difference. You would see. Yeah. We can see that map returns the new array with the updated value, and the original value of array is not changing. So the difference between mapping and for each is that mapping returns a new array with the result of the function, while for each does not return anything. I don't think this is actually what I want us to know. So yeah. Okay, for the mapping, okay, it's still the same result actually. The same result. But most times mapping is actually for dynamical stuff. So I don't know if that's a bit, I know it's still a little bit confusing, but majorly, if you need to actually return different arrays and the dynamic stuff, please use mapping. I don't think for each actually looks up different things at the same time. It just takes up a particular element and returns things in that element, like a particular array, not checking different things. Because this one is actually like an array. This is actually like an array and object like that. So I don't know if that's okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Any more questions before we end the class? I know that we've not started this, but because it's CSS, so I would not say it's actually something difficult to do. You've done the basic part, which is the mapping, which is the major reason why I waited after doing that. I said we want to use one stone to kill three birds, which is the first one where we killed, what's it called? The useState and ternary operator. That's true. Then the third one is actually just mapping, aside of trying to design a normal design. So yes,
Sorry, please, this one has to do with extension. I be what with node. What is the implication of using a node that is not latest? That is mine is far from the LTS.
okay.
So
Some of the LTS, the thing is that when there are improvements, for example, when you install a new React, sometimes the new React dependency, they've actually done it alongside the old one. So that means you now have to having compatibility. For example, Material UI previously were using Material UI, but now they changed it to MUI. So do you understand? No, now if you're not installing Material UI on an old dependency that actually accepted Material UI as MUI, you start seeing compatibility issue. And that's why people keep updating their code. The reason that people in UBA Bank, what are they doing? They have been there for a long while. People in Jumia, there is no new feature. Not as if there's no new feature. They're updating their code. They're updating things to make sure it's faster. Trying to say, okay, these people release new updates. What will it affect? Change it. If they're using MUI now, go to wherever you have Material UI, try to see if you can update them. So that's just it. Okay. Does that answer your question?
yes, thank you.
So what question do we have again? And also, I would love to also know. Hope you learned something today. Nobody's responding. So nobody learned anything.
Yes, so thank you.
I did learn quite a lot.
I learned. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So we're ending the class in kind of 2 minutes, but I'll still love to take questions before we end the class. So if you have questions, please feel free to say it, please.
Okay, it's still I'm very sorry, it's still the node issue. Is it possible to have different version of node on a PC and it won't be giving issue when you are
Give
working?
issue. Sometimes you try to call one, then that's when you start hearing delete the former one, then delete the old one, then you have to delete one.
It's nothing with this. Okay.
You're having
Okay,
issues with
thank
your
you.
node.
Yes, I'm having issue.
You have to look for a way to delete one part.
Okay.
Delete one part. Yeah.
Okay.
If you don't have, if that is not still resolved, please let me know. Send me a message.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, I sent you a message on Slack too.
Did I reply?
I just sent it now.
Okay.
Like, will you have time to talk about it after the class or later in
Yeah,
the day?
so he will have to. I think both of us should join the meeting with him on that Slack so that the installation process from as in the beginning of that.
I would
What
have
was it
said what,
called?
but you could actually watch it with me, but I'll be ready. I'm very available to actually go through things that you don't understand. So
Me, I'll go and watch the video, sure. But Kenny, follow up with
It
him,
has
sure,
not
on
been
your own.
uploaded though. The video, it has not. That's the issue I'm having. As the morale is there to watch video, it will be piling up, and that's really
God
affecting me.
bless
I
you,
don't.
Falsat. You understand the thing. And so some questions here that we ask, sometimes we would have swallowed it and then have a hope or something. But if two more classes add to this now,
Yeah, it will be
the
pile up to
focus will be on
watch.
the current classes.
apologies for that.
Sincerely, is
We would work more on that, on how to actually upload videos. One of sometimes the issue is actually to convert it first. So it takes a longer while to convert. And after it's converted, we also try to check. We don't just want to send out things that is not credible. So we ensure that we send out credible things that you could actually rewatch. For example, I think today's class will not be uploaded, and that was due to some reasons. Yeah. Other question? We are kind of close to ending the class.
Falsat, DM me, please.
Okay. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for joining to this class, and have a lovely weekend. And also, I'm sure you just try to review your stuff for Monday. I think there should still be another class this
Thank you,
evening.
sir.
Sure. But I would also see, I don't know if this will be my last class for this period. I think there's another I would be able to schedule for next week, but I'm not quite sure yet. Okay, guys. And thank you very much.
Thank you too, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.